in NASENCO. This is, for me, a wonderful program. I've been involved in the National Award for SEN Coordination with Best Practice Network since it began in 2009. It's been a real pleasure and privilege to work with so many wonderful SENCOs and aspiring SENCOs up and down the country. So this afternoon, my job is to explain to you some of the benefits of the program, how it works, and to try and encourage that interest that you've shown in NASENCO towards joining us on that journey towards NASENCO in the near future. And my colleague Manny Byrne.
Hi there. Hello, everyone. I think I've been working on the programme almost as long as Dean. I head up the assessment side of the programme, which you'll find out more about the academic writing that's involved and the academic thinking and approach. Yeah.
Thank you, Manny.
Speaking to you soon.
Thank you. So the plan is I'm going to go through a few slides, explain the programme, explain some of the benefits, etc. There will be time at the end for questions and answers. However, in the meantime, as I'm talking along, if any questions do crop up, please feel free to pop them in the chat box. We may not answer them straight away if we know it's coming up, the answer in a later slide. But at the end, we'll certainly try to make sure that any questions posed have been answered to your satisfaction. Okay, so hopefully you can all see the slides. It's the National Award for SEN Coordination with Best Practice Network, BPM, and today is an introduction for potential applicants. And the first thing to say is that the NASENCO is a mandatory qualification, for all designated SENCOs working in a mainstream school or academy. So if you are working in a school, you are the designated SENCO. The law requires that you gain the mandatory award, the NASENCO, within 3 years of being appointed. And we strongly encourage you to get started on that as soon as possible if you are designated SENCO. However, we also say, because it's true, that the NASENCO is also accessible to individuals working in special and other schools and to aspiring SENCOs. And the asterisk there is to say, this is very much a course that's steeped in practice as well as theory. It's not just about knowledge and understanding. So if you are an aspiring SENCO, it's not enough to show that you know A, B, and C. You have to work alongside the SENCO at your school in order to demonstrate actions you've taken to meet many of the learning outcomes that form part of the NASENCO. So it is accessible to aspiring SENCOs. You do need the school support, and you do need the school support in ensuring that you can work alongside the designated SENCO to enable you opportunities to demonstrate those learning objectives. But my point here is it's accessible to both designated SENCOs and aspiring SENCOs, and those for whom it's not mandatory, improves or special schools, etc. So what's our program? There are many NASENCO programs out there. I can just talk about ours. We've been doing it since 2009. It's a tried and tested formula. It's a blended learning program. It includes 6 days of facilitated talk sessions. And I think it's important to say that if you see the phrase online, it's not an online course where you are self-directed and you work independently. There are 6 online taught facilitated sessions with breakout rooms, which really give you opportunities to talk to your peers and colleagues and tutors as well. So it's 6 days of facilitated talk sessions, academic writing and SENCO practice workshops. Manny will talk more about that later, but we try to support you in your academic writing by giving you opportunities to drop in and talk to our team around any queries you have on that. There is a discussion forum that we have, because everybody, whether you do face-to-face or online, you will get access to our virtual learning environment. And within that, there's lots of information for you to help you progress. And there are discussion forums to help you discuss questions and theory and issues that you might have or challenges with other people on the course. Our program is available as an online or face-to-face program. Some of you may prefer online, some of you may prefer face-to-face. Our intention is to provide options that suit you, whichever you prefer. And it includes a postgraduate certificate in SEN coordination, as do all the NASENCO programs in the country. It's a requirement of the NASENCO, this mandatory award, that it's at master's level. You gain a PG cert. A full master's is 180 credits. This gives you the postgraduate certificate. And that's fantastic CPD in its own right. The opportunity to have and hold a certificate of 60 credits at master's level, which you could take forward if you wished towards a full master's, or just use as your own professional development, is a fantastic opportunity, we feel. And our postgraduate certificate is validated by our partners, Bath University. Excuse me. And our program is very highly recommended by participants. And I say that because we're very proud of that. And just to give you some reassurance on the next slide, this is just some of the feedback that we've received, because obviously what we're trying to do is give you some assurance that signing up with us is a good idea and that you're going to get a really good program and be really well supported. And I wanted to use some of the feedback here. What are the benefits? And I think this candidate here who said, the course has helped me to be more strategic and think out of the box. I think that's a really important benefit. Yes, there are learning outcomes that need to be evidenced and met, but as part of that, we're trying to think of creative and new ways of developing practice for the benefit of children with SEND. And it really is about strategy and leadership as well. Those are big elements of the program. This comment here, a huge thank you for the Zoom meeting last week. I found it super useful. It really helped me to structure my thinking and direction of my academic writing. That's a nod to the academic writing workshops. So Manny offers these once a month where participants can join in and discuss certain features. And okay, Manny will talk more about that later. This one was here about, thank you, I've learned so much. And it is about, opportunity to just take the time to reflect upon where you are as a SENCO, or what you would do as an aspiring SENCO moving into the SENCO role. And it is about improving practice. It's not a tick box exercise. We want there to be benefits to you. And we very much get good feedback that people do improve their general practice as a result of doing this course. And also the fact here that this particular person, having done the PG cert, signed up to complete a master's in education on the basis of that, which is another benefit for you. This one here just talks about, we put the training online when COVID hit, and this head teacher was really impressed by the way it all operated and would be recommending again. And was just talking about how the online element worked really well. And just say at the bottom here, it's not an easy course. It requires a significant investment in time, but it's really, really rewarding. And when people finish their e-portfolio, when they finish their PG cert, when they get that NASENCO certificate, they're really proud of what they've achieved. And to put that into context to support their school, the children and the families they work with is a really, really fantastic thing that they're able to do. So that's just a few bits of our feedback. I want to show you as well in terms of just an example of our day one evaluation feedback. So our most previous cohort of day one attendees, we had 168 people who responded. And again, just to give you that reassurance that you would be signing up with a quality provider. SA stands for strongly agree. So in the pre-event information, 76% of the 168 strongly agreed that this was useful and on time, etc., and 97% agreed or strongly agreed. Facilitation, we look at the strongly agreed and agreed in combination, 99%, but event content, 100, participation opportunity, 100, ease of use, 100, and valuable learning, 100. And importantly to us, 71% of those who attended would recommend that event, would strongly agree with that, and 100%. And again, that's something that we're very proud of. It's consistent across our cohorts year on year. We do tend to have 3 cohorts a year, autumn, summer and spring. And it's something we work very hard towards. And we know we can't please everyone all the time, but we do our best to achieve that. And are very proud of that feedback. Okay, a bit about our partners. So we are Best Practice Network. We offer this. It's a PG cert, but we're not a university. In terms of the academic writing, we do the teaching, we do the marking, we do the support, we do the academic writing workshops. However, the award is validated by Bath University, who quality assure everything we do. So you can be assured is at the same level as any other HI in the country. Bath also give you access to their e-library. So you can be a student accessing loads of books and sources and articles, etc., through their e-library. And the PG cert is awarded by Bath University, but can be used to apply for a master's anywhere around the country if a different HEI accepts that towards their full master's. We're also a partner of the Leading Learning for Special Educational Needs and Diversity, kind of otherwise known as the NASENCO provider group. I think there's roughly 14 NASENCO providers in the country. We're a member of that group and we quality assure each other. And again, that's just to explain to you that we don't rest on our laurels. We do work with other providers to make sure that the quality of our program is as it should be. Very importantly for us, we have a range of program partners in teaching school hubs, local authority and school academy networks. And I'll mention that a bit more in a minute when I talk about where our programs are running in the autumn, because I guess that's what you're interested in. I've introduced myself, I'm the program director, Dean Boyce, and Manny is our lead assessor. But we also have a team across the country. And I've put there some figures on the tutors and assessors. So we have 11 associates. That means they're not employees of BPN. They don't work for us full time, but they are people who work in a school or people who work in a local authority or people who are SEN consultants who also work for us on delivering this program. And they're used because of their expertise. We have a number of associate tutors who work for Whole School Send. We have a number of tutors who have published books, etc. We have a number of tutors who are area Senkos or Senkos for a particular area. And by doing this course with us, we have access to all those tutors who can contribute to discussions across all the VLE. We also have 8 partner staff. And what I mean by that is that we increasingly work with a number of partners, TS hubs, local authorities, where their staff, their local experts, tutor on our behalf using our resources, trained by us, supported by us. So, for example, 2 of our partners, Durham and East Riding, are local authority groups, but they have lead people in their local authorities who lead training to Senkos anyway, and they work with us to deliver the NASENCO program. What I'm trying to say is that across the country, there is a wealth of very, very experienced individuals, either associates or partners who work on this team as tutors and or assessors. We also pride ourselves on our support. We have a support team. There's a few names there: Cassia, Monica, Michael, Freya, help desk. My apologies if I've missed anybody, but those people are on hand to help you with any questions you have once you're on the program. They're all based in the office, so they're able to sort of respond very quickly and help you if help is needed. And just, I mentioned that at Bath Spa University, you would become a student. So you become a student with Bath Spa University. That gives you access to their e-library. And we have a colleague, Liz Elliott, who is our liaison link between there to make sure we get you sorted with anything that you need through that library system. So that's kind of who we are and what we do. I'm going to ask Manny now to talk about academic writing, because there are 2 aspects to the NASENCO. And with us, you have to successfully achieve the postgraduate certificate in SEN coordination, and you have to successfully demonstrate the 49 learning outcomes, and they both go hand in hand with NASENCO. But Manny's just going to talk to you now a little bit more about the postgraduate certificate and how that is organised.
Thank you, Dean. Hello, everyone. So basically you have 2 assignments to complete. They're both in the form of a reflective account, which means a reflection on practice, as opposed to doing anything like action research or a case study particularly. Reflective account is your reflection on practice. And the great thing about these reflective accounts is that they give you the opportunity to review your practice or think about practice, if you're an aspiring Senko, in a fresh way, and in a way which you can have that time to research into what the current thinking is about your topic, and get yourself really up to speed, so that you can then reflect on how well and effectively you are providing for students with SEN at your setting. And this is actually quite a rare opportunity, I think, that we get in schools, because we're so busy sort of on the job often. So I see it, and I know that past people on the programme have seen it in this way as well. So we have the 2 assignments. RA stands for reflective account. So reflective account 1, you have the choice of 3 titles and you choose one of them. So we've got inclusion, the role of stakeholder partnerships in developing provision for those with SEN, and the role of the NASENCO, just to look at that role and how it sort of leads to better outcomes. And in each of those, what you would be doing is to look at that current theory and understanding how we can understand these. Let's say you take the title of inclusion. You would have that opportunity to really sort of dig deep into what that actually means and how other people have appraised their effectiveness in inclusion, and then apply that to your setting. So it really kind of gives you that opportunity to to be able to make recommendations for future practice based on your account. The second one is your choice to focus on a specific SEN at your school. At the moment, I'm looking at autism, looking at ideas or the situation of girls and camouflaging, masking the symptoms, if you like, of autism is a popular choice, but it's completely up to you. And with that, you would need to go to your school and see what would work well as your topic. But it's the same thing. It's researching into what's the most current practice, and then applying that to your setting. And each of those reflective accounts are 6,000 words each. You can go 10% either way. And we recognise that for quite a lot, well, first of all, it's quite a big ask on top of a full-time job to fit this academic work into your schedule. But we also recognise that a lot of people haven't done much of this kind of writing for quite a long time. And so we offer lots of support for you. We've got the academic writing workshops where they're themed for the first half hour. So, for example, what does it mean to be taking this kind of scholarly approach to your topic and your role? What about academic voice? What does that actually look like? How do we do referencing? How should we structure the assignments? And that kind of thing. So we've got some quite detailed workshops on that, which are followed by sort of drop-in. You can come and just ask any questions that you want specifically for you. We have some recorded tutorials on how you might go about structuring your account, and one on each sort of section if you want to structure it in that way. We're not telling you exactly how to do it, but we're giving you support in case you need it. So we recommend rather than direct you to a specific way of writing. We've got online discussion forums where you can write in with any questions, which are manned, and we get back to you pretty quickly. And we provide you with an opportunity to complete a template, I suppose, on questions that, if you can answer them, are very likely that it's like a draft of your work, but we can feed back on that, and you'll know that you're on the right track for a pass in your assignment. So there's going to be questions time after, I think, Dean. So I think
absolutely.
That's probably enough for now. But,
I think an excellent overview. Yeah,
that's an overview, fairly detailed. Sorry if I went into too much.
No, great. Yeah,
that's all for now then. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Manny. In terms of the learning outcomes, there are 49 learning outcomes. Some of those 49 learning outcomes are met through the reflective account. I mean, there are 3 individual ones which are very integral to academic writing, which typically are met through the assignments. But of the 49, if you did the program with us, you could expect that overall it varies, but 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 of those 49 LOs would be demonstrated evidence through what you have told us in your academic writing, depending on the title that you've chosen. The remaining LOs are met in 2 ways. So a lot of the knowledge and understanding LOs, 15 of those in particular, which we focus on in the training sessions. So by engaging with peers and tutors and increasing your knowledge and understanding in taught sessions and on the virtual learning environment, that's your evidence of those 15. The rest are met through an e-portfolio of evidence. And we want this program, the program we run, to be very sort of practical in nature and useful to you. So it's about naturally occurring documents. So if you are the NASENCO and you lead some training to your staff in your school, and you've got this PowerPoint that you've used to train your staff, you upload that to the e-portfolio referenced against the relevant learning outcome, and we assess it as met or not met or partially met. If you're the aspiring NASENCO, you can't just say, I sat there and listened to the NASENCO deliver this training. You have to be involved in the training in some capacity to show your input and the way you have met the LO about leading on CPD for staff. If you are a NASENCO and you meet with the SEN governor, then the minutes of those meetings can be uploaded at naturally occurring document. The minutes can be used against the relevant LO. And again, if you're an aspiring NASENCO, you can't just sit and shadow the NASENCO, but what you can do is work with the NASENCO for that meeting, contribute to that meeting, and then use that evidence to show your contribution to the discussion and the strategic development that you've been through, etc. If you haven't yet, I'll start again. If you haven't yet seen the 49 learning outcomes, there is a web link you can click. If you just search at www.gov.uk and look for NASENCO learning outcomes, they're all there. There are those about knowledge and understanding. There are those about systems. And we really want, when the LOs were written, they were designed to challenge you as newly appointed NASENCOs, or people thinking of moving into that role, to think about the systems that you inherit. In what way are the systems you inherit for identification, for sharing information, for setting targets, for tracking progress, etc., to what extent are they fit for purpose? To what extent do you evaluate and monitor those systems? To what extent do you develop and implement changes to improvement? And that's what we're challenging you to do on our taught session days, to think about, to review, evaluate your systems and to make improvements to them, making it as practical as possible. There are other LOs about working with parents, working with outside agencies, with the local offer, etc., etc. But if you haven't seen them, please do look at them online. And so through the PG Cert and through the e-portfolio and the signing off of the 49 LOs, that's how you get your NASENCO. And for us, it's typically over 4 school terms. So again, different NASENCO providers in the country will have different timescales. For us, it's been the same for some time now. You start the program, you get 2 school terms for assignment 1. So if you were starting in autumn, which is our next cohort, autumn 23, your RA1 would be due to be submitted at the end of the spring term 2024. That's your 2 terms, autumn and spring. And then your RA2 would be due for submission at the end of at the beginning of the spring term 2025. So you get summer and autumn, and it's usually the start of January submission date. So if you're thinking of doing it with us, thinking of timescales, that's what you need to be thinking of. 2 school terms for RA1, 2 school terms for RA2, but there is facility for you to fast track that and to do it slightly quicker, at least a term quicker, if there are means that you can do that, and we can work with you on an individual basis if that's what you want to do. So, if you're interested and you want to do it, and you think BPM would be a good provider to work with, what are your offers? So at the moment for autumn 2023, this is what we've got on offer at the moment, what we're working with. So we have face-to-face partner groups. Durham, East Riding, our local authority partner groups. Newcastle, we've got a group at the moment with a Catholic Education Trust in Newcastle, not yet confirmed for autumn, but we're in that process of confirming. Luton is with Chiltern Teaching School Hub. Wolverhampton is with Manor Teaching School Hub. Stoke is with Golden Thread Teaching School Hub. Bucks is Astra Teaching School Hub, and we've got 2 in Essex, which is Alpha Teaching School Hub, which is based in Colchester, and Benfleet, which is based around Benfleet. So if you are in those areas, if you're a member, if you are coming here today because you are a part of that TS Hub or Teaching School Alliance or local authority, and you want to do face-to-face there, you can. If you live nearby, but you're not part of that hub that I mentioned, you can still join in. You might be a neighbouring local authority, but location-wise, it's quite close. So if you want to do face-to-face and you live near one of those partner groups, but you're not part of the partner, we can still facilitate you joining those groups. So that's an option for you. We will be running a number of distance learning online groups. A lot of people, even with the face-to-face opportunity, choose to do distance learning / online because that's the way they want to work. And, there are benefits to doing online, there are benefits to doing face-to-face. So there will be a number of distance learning groups, typically 3, 4, or 5 different groups. And each group tends to be 24 people, but with 2 tutors. So with the breakout rooms, we're able to sort of mix you all around, and 1 tutor for 12 participants. And then we also have a number of face-to-face groups, which we don't deliver with partners, but we deliver ourselves. So typically we would hire a school or a hotel. So typically we always do one in Bristol, London, Manchester, and Widnes. And we had a lot of interest from East Sussex and Sheffield. So provided there are sufficient numbers in those 6 locations there, which we hope there will be, but can't guarantee, then there will also be opportunities for you to join a face-to-face group. So please, if you are going to apply and you do apply, please make it clear which option you would prefer as your first preference, and we can work with you towards that. In terms of our autumn cohorts, just to give you some idea of dates, now the dates are very, very slightly different with a couple of teaching school hubs for reasons you don't need to go into, but the vast majority, 95% of people starting in autumn, these will be the windows for the date. So if you just want to get an idea in your head that your day 1 will be between the 18th and 31st of October, and day 2 will be second half of November, first week in December, and you can see on my screen the dates, and that your day 6 is September, October. People typically have not finished by day 6. After day 6, you still have RA2 to finish off, and you still have your e-portfolio to finish off, but at least by then you know what you need to do. If you are thinking of an autumn cohort, the application deadlines are publicised on our webpage. At the moment, it says 52 days to go. So we would really encourage you, if you are interested, please get your application in early. Number 1, because there are a lot of checks we need to do. We need to check the head teacher's declaration. We need to check that someone's going to pay for it, like pending funding. And only then can we assign you to a group. And the sooner we can assign you to groups, the sooner we know if a group is viable, the sooner we can. We really strongly encourage you to apply as soon as you possibly can. And again, that comment that online programs are available as alternative to face-to-face. So, obviously, if you're applying for face-to-face, we will do our best to run a cohort. Worst case scenario, we don't get a viable cohort, we can always offer you the online program instead. I think that last bullet point there has been a real strong feature of BPN programs in the last couple of years, because we have multiple groups up and down the country, because we have multiple distance learning groups. It means that if you miss one of the talk sessions, you can be accommodated elsewhere. So if your day 3 is coming up and you're in distance learning group 2 and something happens and you can't make it, you can contact our office and they can give you the alternatives. They can say, well, you can join distance learning group 1 or group 3 or group 4 on this date. So we have a whole range of dates, which really maximizes the chances you have to make and attend all the 6 talk sessions, because we know that life and work gets in the way of schedules and plans. So that's our plan for autumn. We very much hope that as many of you as possible will want to do that with us. If you are interested, the next step is to go to our webpage and start the application. We have a live chat. We have a NASENCO email, and there are a number of people ready to support you. You do need your school support to apply. There is a head teacher declaration that everybody needs. regardless of whether you are a designated SENCO or aspiring, there's an additional form that you need if you're an aspiring SENCO, because your head teacher has to sign to say, A, they believe that in the context of their school, you will be able to meet all the LOs and that they will support you to give you opportunities to meet all the LOs. And as long as we get that, we can accept aspiring SENCOs. Well, that's enough of me talking. I apologize hugely for my cough, which doesn't happen when I'm not talking, but does when I do. But I wanted to sort of go through the basic structure of the program to give you opportunity to ask any questions. So if you've heard enough and you don't need to hear any more, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time. And if you want to jump off the call now, please feel free to do that. We very much hope you'll apply. But anybody who wants to stay behind and ask as many questions as you like, please fire away. Someone said, is this different to the L3 SENCO? Absolutely. Sorry. And then let's be absolutely clear here. The level 3 SENCO is for people working in early years in the PVI sector. Okay. So the level 3, this is a level 7 award designed for people working in schools. So it's not designed for people working sort of birth to 5 in the early years. If you want to check eligibility, do check our webpage. But typically it's for people working maybe in a nursery within a school, but from nursery in a school upwards. The early year SENCO is a different program that BPN offers. It's DFE funded. And if you message EY SENCO at Best Practice Net, one of us can answer you around there. Okay. So there's a question there about the MPQ, and absolutely, a fair question and one that needs to be answered in terms of, at the moment, the NASENCO is the mandatory award for designated SENCOs. It's the award you must have. Many of you would have heard, no doubt, about the government's proposal to introduce an NPQ that will replace the NASENCO as the mandatory award. Will NASENCO in its own right continue once the NPQ is in place? We don't yet know. When will the NPQ begin? We don't yet know of any certainty. I can't speak on behalf of DFE. If I were working on an anticipation, my anticipation is that the NPQ will not begin before autumn 24. I and BPN believe, with the information we have, that the NPQ won't be in place until at least autumn 24. And we have been advised by the DFE in a communication that if anyone is asking, which you are here, to say that if anybody intended or intends to begin their NASENCO in autumn 2023, they should continue to do that. My advice and guidance as an individual person is that if you are designated SENCO, this is a great program. If and when the NPQ replaces NASENCO as the mandatory award, it doesn't lessen the value of NASENCO. Anybody who holds the NASENCO will still be qualified to take on the SENCO role. The mandatory qualification may become the NPQ, but the government will still accept anyone who's completed NASENCO. So there is no reason why you cannot begin the NASENCO program in autumn 23. Say if you're designated, I would advise you to do that personally. There is a thought for aspiring SENCOs. Clearly, the question, will a new NPQ, if it is introduced in autumn 24, will that be funded? We don't know. I don't think the DFE are able to answer. I just don't know. I mean, it would be pure speculation. The NASENCO isn't funded at the moment. So if you're an aspiring SENCO, yes, there is a serious conversation to be had with the fee payer. And I say fee payer because in the majority of the situations, school pays for this, but we have had some self-funders as well. And you absolutely do need to be mindful, if you're an aspiring SENCO particularly, that if you start this course in autumn, by the time you finish, there may be or likely to be an NPQ in place, which will be the mandatory qualification. But in that, there's a question in the chat box which says, if the NPQ comes in, will the NASENCO course still be valid? The information we've been given is that yes, the NASENCO course will be valid. And you can do that. You can start the course in autumn, safe in the knowledge that it will be recognised. Has anyone spotted any other messages I've missed? Yeah, you certainly won't have to do both. If you've got NASENCO, that will be fine. Have any of my colleagues picked up on any questions that I've not seen, please?
No, I think that's all we've got there.
Okay, well, I'll once again say thank you very much for your attendance today. It's been great to see you virtually.
I'm just going to pop in the in this box the email again, which is the NASENCO at best practice. So if anything does pop into your head, my team are able to answer that.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing many of you on our courses in the autumn.